For this tutorial, I wanted to show you how and when you should recode variables. First thing I will do is I will show you a survey. On the survey, in this section, the following questions ask you about your thoughts about food and your body. This scale comes from the body esteem scale. Notice question 27. I like what I look like in pictures. 1 is never, 5 is always. So 5 on this particular item represents a positive aspect of body. You feel good about your body. Number 28, I'm proud of my body. Same thing, answering 5 always is a good thing. But notice question 29, I am preoccupied with trying to change my body weight. If I was to answer 5 for this, always, a 5 would actually be a negative thing. And so it's important when you have questions that are reverse worded like this that you get all of the scores coded in the same direction. Otherwise, you'll have some questions where 5 is a negative thing and others where 5 is a positive thing. If you look on, you'll notice question 30 is positive, question 31 is negative, question 32 is positive, question 33 is negative. So I have to decide, what do I want to represent in negative? A higher score or a lower score? In this case, I want a lower score to be negative because the scale is body esteem, so I want a high score to mean that somebody has a good or a high body esteem. Now that I know this information and I know the response options here, I'm going to go back to my survey and I find question 29. It's called Q29BE, preoccupied with changing my body weight. I know that this variable needs to be recoded. To do a recode, I go under transform, I go to recode into different variables. So transform, recode into different variables. I find the variable Q29BE, which is right here, preoccupied with changing body weight, and I'm going to send it over. Now I know I have some other variables here that need to be recoded from that scale, and I'm not going to do all of them, but here's one, Q31, lots of things I change about my looks. And here's another one, I wish I looked better, Q33. So I'll do these 3. So the first thing I need to do is highlight the variable I want to recode, click on old and new values, and I know that in this case I want a low score, a 1, to actually be the reverse of 5. So I click old value 1, and the new value I click 5, and I click add. Then I want all 2s for that question to be recoded as 4s, and click add. I don't need to do anything about the 3s. I want all 4s to be recoded as 2s, and click add. And finally I want all 5s to be recoded as 1s, and I click add. Come back, hit continue, and now for this variable I have to call it something new. I like to call it, I like to put an R in front of the variable name to signify that it's been recoded. So RQ29BE, and for label I can just type recode of question 29, and I click change. And then you'll notice that the old and new values stay the same for all of those, so I don't have to repeat that process. But under name, I'm going to call this one RQ31BE, and this is a recode of Q31, and then RQ33BE is a recode of question 33. Once I've changed all of those, I'm going to click OK. SPSS will pull up this output file, which I don't need to look at. I'm going to go back to my data set, and you'll notice that the new variable is not here. It actually puts all new variables at the very end of the data set. So I have to scroll to the very end, either in data view or the very bottom, if I go to variable view. And you'll notice here are my 3 variables that I added, RQ29, R29, RQ31, and RQ33. And so when I need to make a record of this somewhere, because when I compute a mean for body esteem, I want to use the RQ29 variable, not the Q29, when I add those up. So the best way to do that is just to go back to your survey, print out a hard copy, and write down what each of these is called on your data set. So this is Q27BE, this is Q28BE, this will be RQ29BE, and that will tell me which things I need to add together to compute my mean. Okay, for this tutorial I'm going to show you how to define a variable in SPSS. The first thing we'll do is we'll start with our survey. You'll notice on this survey, this is my health behavior survey from 2007. Each question that is on the survey is considered a variable in SPSS. So I'm going to start by defining in the data set, what sex are you, question number 1. So the first thing I need to do is I need to open up SPSS